This is Ray Money 253, and I'm here to explain to you how and why Eminem became overrated. So, I explained hypothetically on a impromptu podcast on stereo why Eminem became overrated, but I realized that I need to redo the whole thing. A lot of the reasons I gave off intersecting with each other, so I want to be more specific. I'm gonna give you guys a definition of what overrated, how, and why are in order for the fans who I'm going to send this to so I can get more engagement. Hopefully it works. So, more engagement for this episode. I'm gonna be uploading it to my Spotify podcast, my Google podcast, and Substack. I'm gonna just promote the hell out of it. The definition of overrated is rated or valued too highly. And in this case, I can definitely see that. The definition of why is for what reason or purpose, in this case, what reason is he overrated? And how is used to ask about the condition or quality of something. So in this case, how did he become? Hmm. All right. So I'm gonna start with what I have for the how. How he became overrated. And I'm thinking there's multiple there's multiple things I thought about because I'll give you guys podcasters point of view of me as an M fan. When I was younger, by '04, this is when I was 7 years old. I loved my band. I was a D12 fan. That was the biggest single D12 ever had. My band. It was number 6 in the country. At this point, in '04, Eminem could drop a single and it'll actually chart. And I'm doing a deep pause because I'm thinking, yeah, because I'll explain this later, but his earlier albums, there's only one hit song he had that really charted, and it was just the album selling the fuck out, where it's doing over a million to nearly 2 million a week. People forget that. M is doing what Drake does now, where he drops a song and it just damn near almost breaks the Billboard. But anyway, he had my band. I loved it. And an encore hit, I used to love Just Lose It, the big single to that album. And he had the MTV press run for when he did the presidential election mock up, where he was Aslam Shady running for president, and he had Donald Trump there, and he used it as a way to promote his album and promote artists such as 50 Cent because he was signed a joint venture with Shady and Aftermath under Interscope. And the funniest thing about it is that as I got older, I realized that, oh, for 4 years, this guy wasn't really making music anymore. You heard Smack Dad, you heard a few songs that were big, but he wasn't making any actual albums. And that's when I realized, oh, he's retired. Because I was in elementary school, I didn't know better. But once I hit 6th grade is when he came back with Relapse. And that gets me to my first point, how he became overrated. Coming out of retirement did not help at all. He came out with with that new album, Relapse, in '09, and it did not do well critically. Sales wise, it was phenomenal, and this is the time where sales were declining. He did amazing. As someone that likes Eminem, who did really at the time, I have a lot of actual fans of Eminem, friends I know that like him and other hip hop artists, and they appreciate it. And actually, as we get older, we appreciate the album more because it felt like an Eminem album. But it still had some filler in there that he needed to work out. Concept album wasn't good for one. The use of his alter ego, Slim Shady, it just wasn't the same. And when he left, the first time I remember listening to the song "When I'm Gone," the best song off that compilation album, his first greatest hits album, which is usually a signal to the audience were, hey, this guy's done. He's no longer gonna be a full-time artist. And that was a really good one, except he had a horrible song, Fact. That song, Fact, was trash. It was horrible. But, you know, people just do whatever. I am sorry, but I'm on stereo and people want to join, and I can't add them because I'm doing something really important. But, phew, I'll open this up later on after I finish my points. I was on my laptop too, dude, because I'm looking at the points that I made, and I don't want to forget anything. Because this Eminem's career is very, very deep. It's not easy to dissect this man. There's a lot of layers to himself. But as I was saying, with the Greatest Hits album, that was a good way to go out. Encore was the worst album in his discography at the time. He only had one bad album out of five. Well, and he had an EP, which he should have released it again to remind people of the origin of the Slim Shady. But anyway, he only had one actual bad project. He was he wasn't missing. That would have been a good way to go out, and then just keep making hit features like he did with SmackDown with Akon, do shit with 50 Cent or any other artist that that he fucks with. But he just had to come out of retirement and after that 4 year layoff when he unfortunately was going through a lot of his drug addiction issues and personal family and friends dying. He just went into a hole. The second reason of how he is losing his respect in hip hop is his discography is just getting worse and worse. As I originally mentioned, how it was he was really damn near spotless. It doesn't seem like that because he hasn't had a great album in over 20 years, and he hasn't had a good project in over 10 years. Yes, difference between great and good. You guys want the definition stands? And you guys are the third reason I'm going to explain. The definition of great The definition of great is an extent, amount, or intensity considerably above the normal average. Good. Good means having the. Let me see. What the fuck? Okay. Good versus great. Sorry. I want to give you guys a textbook definition so you guys understand. So good means it's desirable or is nice. Great means it's better than good. So that's the difference. That's what it really, really is. Good players. I'm gonna give you a basketball analogy. Good players play well some of the time. Great players play great all the time. And Eminem used to shoot out projects, three straight albums that were great. Now that right there is greatness. I haven't heard a good consistent project from him since the Royce project that he did as Bad Meets Evil, his duo group with Royce that he formed in 1997. 1997, only one project with those guys, and it's a good project. 14 years after they first teamed up, we should have had at least two or three by now together. But I mean, hey, what do I know? What the fuck do I know? So since he came back from out of retirement, he had Relapse, Recovery, the sequel EP, not even an album, the fucking P with As Bad Meets Evil. He had the Marshall Mathers LP2, sequel to his best overall album. He had a soundtrack for Southpaw. Then he had Revival, which was the reason why people started looking at his career differently because it just made people just question: does he still have it? He had Kamikaze. Then he had Music to Be Murdered By. He had Music to Be Murdered By Side B. And then he had the greatest hit, The Current Call, which is the greatest hit. And it was part two. That's 10 projects that he's been a part of fully. And I can't name two great projects out of any of them. I can barely even name two good ones overall. And I used to like the more something out of this LP too, and now I don't even like it that much. But if you look at his first part of his discography before he retired, he had Infinite, he had Slim Shady EP, Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, The Eminem Show, Encore. Oh wait, let me go back. So he actually had Infinite, 96, the Slim Shady EP, 97, Slim Shady LP, 99, Marshall Mathers LP, 2000, 2001, Devil's Night, 2002, Eminem Show. He had 8 Mile soundtrack. He had the 8 Mile soundtrack in 2002. He had um Devil's D12's World, 2004. He had Encore 2004, and then he had the Current Call 2000 in 2005. Those 10 projects versus the 10 projects in the second part of his career after the retirement, I can name probably at least 8 good projects to great projects out of those 10 versus the two good to great on the other side. That is a 50% ratio. He went down. It's I gotta compare it to this. It's like Russell Westbrook's free throw shooting early on in his career with the Oklahoma City Thunder until he left. It was such a good high in the 80s, and now it's 60s, 50s. It's crazy. The third, before I get on to the third point, what do you guys think? As if you're gonna be one of the greatest hip hop artists of all time, one of them, as I said, your discography has got to be. It's like the LeBron James argument when people try to say he's a goat. You gotta have more makes and misses in that criteria. LeBron James is 4-6 in the finals. Eminem is 50-50 really in his discography. When you look at people like Tupac, Jay Z, Biggie, Tupac, Jay Z, I mean, Tupac and Biggie died young, but I mean their discography is still above a 50% average of good or great. I mean, 50% average on good or bad. You look at Jay Z, Kendrick, a duo such as Outkast. It's just what it is. And the third reason is his fucking fan base. I had a friend in college who was a perfect example of this. He didn't listen to anybody else but Eminem. Any other genres. He just preferred to listen to Eminem strictly, and that was creepy as fuck. Mm. He would listen to Relapse, and I like some songs of Relapse. Oh, I like some songs on Relapse. It's not a bad album. It's just not a good one. It's a mid album, as they would say nowadays. And that's the problem. Eminem's standard was so high. It's not always just about how much you sell. Critically, is it good or not? And a lot of his fans, they don't care for hip hop, so they're just biased because they just see him. He is someone that they just naturally gravitate due to his skin color, and that's the unfortunate part. He does not mean for that, but it is what it is. And that's one aspect I do think that sucks for Eminem because he has admitted in his good days where if he was black, he would have sold half. He ain't had to. He said he was black, he would have sold half. He didn't have to graduate Lincoln High School to know that. He said that as one of his bars in White America. The the opening is the first song, not the opening track, but the first song. There's a difference, guys, in the album. And his fan base. When I when I actually did my review on the Eminem show, the 20th anniversary, and I didn't include the new additions. I just did strictly the original album. I I sent it to Reddit. I gave it 84 out of 100 after 20 years. For an album to get that high of a rating, at least over 20 years, that's phenomenal, right? And I used to think that was an A+ album 10 years ago. In fact, that album actually aged really well to me. Musically, it's a fucking. I can throw that shit on and I'm good. Like I'm happy listening to that album, regardless of what Eminem is now. Yet, I had one stan. He literally just got out his fucking pants and said, "What the fuck, you giving it 84 out of 100? It's supposed to be at least an A, and you didn't critique the other fucking songs on the standard edition? What kind of fucking review is this?" He didn't say the F word, but he wanted to, but he didn't want to make himself look like a bigger jackass. And it's just, I don't know, bro. You stands gotta do better. Listen to more hip hop artists. When I was growing up, I started listening to hip hop really when I was 7. So when I was 5, it was mainstream hip hop out here from Eminem, Jay Z, DMX, RP to him, those kind of artists. And then like I said, when I hit 7, it started transitioning to 50 Cent, Kanye, and them. But YouTube came out in '05, but I started using YouTube in '06. I had a computer, thankfully, and I wish I made a YouTube account when Google bought it because I would have kept so many playlists of all the music, especially the ones that are still up now, 15 to nearly 20 years later, of all the stuff I found because there was so much good music that these guys, these artists, such as One Technique, Old Tech Nine, these guys were making on YouTube. These guys had YouTube channels what, MF Doom in '06, '07. Like a lot of artists didn't do that until about 2009. Hell, Linkin Park had a YouTube channel in 2007. And the point of just saying that is that I learned so much about different hip hops. I learned about Madlib, one of the best producers of all time, who was finally getting his flowers mainstream by doing that one project Bandana with Freddie Gibbs. A great project to listen to. And a lot of you fan base, a lot of you stands, I mean, which is based off the song from his goated album, Marshall Mathers LP, his magnum opus. Y'all gotta just listen to different types of hip hop. Just because you can't relate, and to me, I can't relate to a drug dealer's fucking past like Pusha T, but I can appreciate how he's able to use triple entendres and crazy wordplay and great vocal delivery due to his cadence in order to present himself in a way where I can understand it. It's it's something that you have to appreciate the art from. And also, most of the thing, a lot of these things, they don't live their life animals live. I've had a few friends that are white boys that are crazy. Like, I don't think a lot of you live the life he lives, and he hangs are mostly black people. So the fact that you guys feel so close to Eminem when he probably won't even fuck with you, and he's made mention of songs where he feels close to the game bangers and all that shit when he was a lead song called "The Goat." You can look it up. Like he feels closer to them than he does uh, his own neighbors, but he basically means white people coded. I don't know why you guys just act like he's fucking Nas. Like African Americans do. It's like no, like Eminem knows Nas is better than him. So you see how I rhyme that? Eminem knows that Nas is better than him. He said that in Till I Collapse, and I had 3 reasons for how. So this is the part where what time is it? Let me see. I wish they would tell me the time how long I've been talking, so I know. So about almost a 19-minute mark where I was talking about the how and giving you guys a previous rundown of why I'm talking about Eminem and my history as a fan. I'm talking about the why. The why was something I studied from when I was looking at his early career, and I saw a documentary, which was from VH1. It was regarding the Marshall Mathers LP, which was the behind the scenes creation of it. I realized that his label started allowing mediocrity because after he put out the Slim Shady LP, and they actually did a master sequence of the EP LP, which I wish that they combined as a little double album. This is a side note. He submitted the Martial Arts LP after being in Amsterdam and being inspired, and every song on there made it. All the songs there are originally going to be there, besides "The Way I Am" and "The Real Slim Shady." And I'll tell you why that's a problem. When Eminem made "My Name Is," it was off the since he's Dre's. He's Dre's artist, and Dre was his mentor. He was doing that as a playoff, being the tree of Dr. Dre's mentors. Because the previous one, Snoop, on Death Row, his first single was "What's My Name." That's the actual lead single to Doggy Style. People always think about Gin and Juice. That's the second lead single. That's the real one. So that's why Eminem got the name "Hi, My Name Is" to introduce himself, just as Snoop Dogg did to the rest of the world. But Eminem didn't want to keep doing that. He wanted to just keep making music that he normally would, which is more storytelling with good rhyme schemes, and different flows. His label head, Jimmy Iovine, wanted him to make something as catchy as My Name Is, because he knows the album's gonna sell, but wouldn't you want your album to sell even more with a catchy lead single? And Eminem really didn't really like How My Name Is was cheesy. In retrospect, it's not cheesy, but the real Slim Shady, I can tell, really aged badly in my opinion. And this is what led Eminem to be stuck in a formulaic approach more and more as he got older. But before, he wasn't. He was a very zany rapper. He had to make the Slim Shady before the album was released May 23rd, 2000. And once he made The Way I Am and Retaliation, to being forced to make a poppy single, Jimmy Iovine's like, I love that song. Still, you need to make the real Slim Shady. Or song, I mean, a song like that. So he made it in about a day, I believe, and they just shot a video for the next 3 days, and that's it. And that's when I realized that Eminem started playing the game more. And he said it in the documentary. He's like, "Oh, this is what I have to do now in order to get people." That's what he has to do to get people to really be entertained, and that sucks. It really, really fucking sucks. Because I don't think Eminem needed to keep making those kind of singles in order to be relevant. His label head, and Jimmy Iovine, the head of Interscope, he said, "Hey, the album's too dark, but it's a Marshall Mathers LP, and the cover tells you that it's gray versus the vivid blue imagery of the Slim Shady LP. This is the self-autobiographical album of the man behind Eminem. What did you expect?" Jimmy Iovine labeled it as a Stephen King a book in album form, basically. And the album would have been better without the real Slim Shady. They could have done it where with Tupac they didn't include California Love and All Eyes on Me. I wish it was the opposite. They they could have included All Eyes. I mean, California Love and All Eyes Me, and instead of using it for promo, because the real Slim Shady should be used for promo and just released completely as a single by itself, not being in the Marshall Mathers LP album, and just keep the way I am and everything else. And that's why when Eminem had that rap group Slaughterhouse, he made them do that goofy ass My Life lead single instead of starting off a Hammer Dance, which Joe Budden on his podcast on his birthday in 2018, I think August 31st is his birthday, I believe, when he turned 40 in 2018. He talked about it. Him and Maul, when they were friends, Maul and Rory. Maul and Joe agreed that that was outdated. It was corny jokes, corny clothes, corny presentation for the video. The green screen was horrible. It just wasn't fun. It's like, what are you doing, Eminem? You're 40 now. This is not cool. You gotta stop doing this, brother. And yeah, that was really sad how his label messed up Slaughterhouse. And by the way, Eminem had, like I said, Shady Records. If you guys don't know that, Shady Records was established in 1999 under Interscope Records, who Eminem is signed under because the imprint that he signed under is Aftermath Records, headed by Dre. Another thing that I've realized is his style change. M used to rap fast, but it was with a purpose, like Kill You. It was it was something that he was how I say he was showcasing, but it like I said, it had a purpose. It wasn't just done to be done to to just show off. It was building up. As I said, Kill You, he said, they say I can't rap about being broke no more. They say I can't rap about coke no more. It's like you don't choke this whore till the vocal cords don't work in her throat no more. And the fact that he was able to just switch it up from going very soft and slow to very fast and soft and slow, those were nice style. Those were nice style changes that I liked about him. Because as I said, he's a zany rapper, and that shows you how creative he is. To do that, different tone pitch, tone switches, the inflection changes. That shows a lot of variety, and the music sounded good because of it. But he's just constantly just rapping fast ever since um Shady 15. And oh, that's the he actually has 11 projects in part two. Shady 15. So he had 10 projects. I forgot to mention. He actually has Shady 15. Yeah, Shady 15 and the re-up after his retirement. That's 12 projects. Ugh, so he's really bad at 50%. But anyway, yeah, he came back with that and he just started rapping really fast. Like Psychopathic Killer. Listen to that song. It has um Crooked. He has I think Royce and Yellow Wolf. And I think whoever is singing, I think maybe Sky Gray. And I'll talk more about those collaborations. Like he's just not rhyming good in that fast flow. It just that staccato flow, as Anthony Montana would state, it's that start and stop shit is not good. And Eminem used to have a really nice flow. It was very smooth. And, and more on the style changes. Eminem used to be very good at making music for him. His hooks were good for him. He used to make hooks for his crew D12 and other artists. It would just be banging like Superman. That hook, might be really misogynistic to a lot of people. M did his thing on that. That was 0203 which I think he should have started moving more of a slower, even a slower pace because his voice, the way that he's able to, his cadence, the way that he's able to talk about things matches matches what I think people would visualize after every word he's stating because he's such a vivid storyteller. Man, when he Obi Trice, one of his signings on Shady Records, he did a hook for him on Lady. It was fucking fire. Hey, lady. Hey, once he said those words, I was hooked in. No pun intended. I said, "Oh wow, hey, lady, hey, darling." I don't really wanna. I said, "Man, this guy's in his musical bag right now." Whenever I listened to those songs again, I said, "He was not missing." And M is a reference that, oh, people want him to be the O3 again when he almost OD'd. And first of all, you didn't almost OD in O3. So that's that gives me to my next point. Why is his drug addiction? It started getting really bad. Eminem nowadays, I don't think he even remembers the time period that he was really that good in. Bro, it was really the end of '04 that people started noticing that your demons were showing because I think his bodyguard, Big Nas, he said that Eminem was actually sober for the Eminem show, and you can tell it's his most mature album. Eminem wasn't saying crazy shit. The only crazy shit he said was about Elton John in a positive way. He spit homosexual bars positively. I know you're gonna be like, "What the fuck? That's wild." But if you listen to My Dad's Gone Crazy, people in the late '90s, early 2000s used to think Eminem was homophobic and all this other shit, and he used to play into that. By the Eminem show, he didn't do that no more, and he was friends with Elton John and all of that. Like Eminem used to be hated, and Amok came out. I was young, so I can't say too much. But yeah, man, Eminem, the hate for him and everything started dying off. And he admitted that in one song on, I think I referenced already, "Goat." It just wasn't the same. So the fact that he nowadays tries to be purposely, what's the word? He purposely tries to be insulting when he wasn't even like that for about a good few years after he really blew with the Marshall's LP as a mainstay in culture forever. It was just kind of tacky. And I'm saying that because in 2015, I remember that freestyle he had about Lana Del Rey, where he said, "I'm gonna punch that bitch in the face like she's Lana Del Rey." And I can't remember the rest of the bar, but it's just like, bro, why are you saying that? That shit's kind of weird. Like, you're over 40 and you got three daughters. Why are you rapping this way? You're the guy that made Stan. You don't got to do that. And I think with all the fans telling him about, oh, like, you were better on drugs. I had one person I know that goes to LA Fitness with me that told me that, and I don't believe it because, like I said, his bodyguard even admitted how he made an album when he was sober. The Eminem show is the most clear-minded I've heard Eminem ever fucking record. Release an album. That shit, like I said, I reviewed that shit. That's an album where I have no problem listening to any songs. Even if I don't like them, like Drift's not a bad song, but I just think it's a bit better. It's literally stripped down too much. And with the 8 Mile soundtrack, is that's he was clear minded. Is that he started taking Ambien to help him with his sleeping issue. So he wasn't a druggie then. He ended up picking drug habits badly because of it after because Eminem was working too much. And for him it was too much doing a movie, making music. It was just too much for him, and that's okay. But it's unfortunate that nobody was there to really guide him on that process. Or just help him switch over to movies because I think he's a great actor. And showed if you can't tell, he has three personas, so obviously he can act. And it's really sad because that's the starting the beginning of his downfall as an artist. Because yeah, you have an addiction, but it doesn't show early. But I'm gonna look at his report. Yeah, he started taking those Ambien pills the end of 2002, but 2 years later he had one of his worst albums ever. And if you look at D12 World, the album came out a few months before that, and Eminem was still pretty damn good. D12 World came out in April, and Encore came out in November. Yeah, that's a 7 month difference, 6 to 7 month difference. And when those albums came out, and Eminem sounded good in D12 World. He looked healthy too, but if you look at Encore, he got fatter. And by '05, it was really sad. So drugs really did play a big part. And people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, in the '90s, like there's some shitty EP, LP, and the early 2000s with D12 and the March was LP. He was on drugs, yeah, but it's not sound weird, but I mean, doing acid and weed obviously didn't affect him like prescription drugs like Ambien, because those drugs, man, they can do a number to someone. But that's all I can say. And obviously it did to him because he started drinking a lot more too. Because now he's what, 12, 13 years sober since 2008, I believe. So actually 15 years sober, I believe. Yeah. So a lot of drinking with really strong dose of medications. That's not helpful at all. And he was doing those other drugs recreationally before he kind of sobered up in '01, '02, because that was the time when he was having issues with Kim. So it was beneficial for him to be as clean as he could be, I believe, and have custody of the kids. Which, as a real man, I respect that. And another reason, the third reason, I already mentioned label allowing mediocrity because once they let him get a formula, the once they gave him a formula, he stuck to it, and then I'm gonna explain that more actually. The first reason, now that you see him coming up, like I said, the reason as in it shows with his artists such as Slaughterhouse that he made him release crappy lead singles. Him himself, he doesn't release good singles anymore. What's the last good single that you heard from Eminem that you're like, well, this is setting a good tone for the album? I honestly don't remember. As a solo artist, don't really remember anymore, and that's the sad part. And don't remind me of how he has a second single where it's more, oh, this is the real shit you want to hear, like clean out my closet the way I am, something that's more serious. He doesn't do that anymore. So he kept one formula that shows that he doesn't have the creativity like he once did, and he throws out something else that he was really good in. But that was the first reason, and I just had to expand on that. The second is style changes. Not good on the hooks no more, uses too many fast flows, and he's just more concentrated on the rhyming versus making good music as well. You can rhyme and make good music. He's shown that. Those first two albums especially, he was rhyming his ass off. In that third album, and then his features on his artists' projects such as Dolby Trice, 50 Cent, and then his group D12, the hooks and everything. Musically, he had on lock for those 2 years as well, and he unfortunately just kind of lost that. A third reason is a lot of the people he used to work with that brought the best out of him. I don't think he works with them well enough, and or give him good feedback. The Bass brothers, those are the people he used to work with, by the way. Mark and Jeff Bass. If you guys don't know that, you're not a real Eminem fan because those were the guys that were a part of constructing a lot of the Eminem sound back in the mid '90s, where they got together, and then you hear the EP, some shit EP and the LP, and Marshall's LP. They produced a lot of those tracks that he was using, such as Drug Ballad, Under the Influence. It does don't ring a bell, then I don't know what the fuck you're doing because yeah, Dre produced hits like Role Model, Guilty Conscious, but you got those lead singles and those ones that had music videos on there that you remember, but all the other tracks that make up the album, they were producing that. And those songs I named, those really hold up well, in my opinion. They're really fun songs to listen to. And even with Dr. Dre with Relapse, I'd rather take a project of that with Relapse than anything else because at least with that, Dr. Dre's beats, if you pick an average Dr. Dre beat, at least it's decent because that's how good of a producer. I mean, great. I shouldn't say good, great he is, but M doesn't pick good beats, and that's my fourth reason. M does. I already said doesn't make good music. Picking good beats is one of those issues. I could probably combine them. He has Alchemist, and people will argue that you should use them, and I want to say no. I'll explain even more with that. M just doesn't have good ear for beats anymore. He knows hip hop. M nowadays he wears retro hip hop shirts for people to learn from, so that fans, if they see that, they'll be, oh, let me try to look who this is. Unfortunately for Eminem, I'm one of those people that I will, if I see something that's off or different about a person, or is about something of relevance, I will look it up. A lot of people aren't like that. Me and Eminem are very similar in the way that we think about things. Uh, one observationally, and I realize that a lot of his fan base aren't because they don't respect the art form, and that's unfortunate. So I think he does himself a disservice by doing that. But to the point of the beats, no, Eminem does not pick good beats. And people used to say Nas was a bad beat picker. No, it's just that people expect Nas to make hits like um "You Can Hate Me Now." No, that's a great Nas sounded great like that, but as people were talking about Nas back then in the late '90s. They were trying to run him out of hip hop after doing stuff like that with Uchi Wally and all that crap. That's just not his lane. In Eminem's lane, I don't really know what his lane is anymore. I remember Sean C, a famous YouTuber, who said that Eminem was famous for, rapping. Um, he was good at getting himself into a lane where it fit him, and now he's out of the lane that he used to be in, and he doesn't know how to get back. It sucks, but that's just what it is. And with not working with Alchemist, listen to Chemical Warfare and tell me, does the chemistry really match there? It doesn't. I think he had a song with that was produced by Alchemist on the Music Murder Bar. I can't remember the name. Saying Stepdad. That is Stepdad. Oh my fucking god. No, Eminem does a fucking horrible job on that. He's when Lil Jamar was making fun of it. He said, "I hate my stepdad." It's like, no, this is not it, Eminem. This is not it. The only hook that was good on that album was the one that he did with the Slaughterhouse members, minus Joe Budden. It sounded like something Eminem wanted to do. That hook was dope for what he's been giving us lately. And then my fourth reason is he doesn't work with new artists. For example, like Tyler, the Creator, he adores Eminem. He had a Relapse poster. He's probably a bigger fan than I am, in that he just has a clear body for him. He gave the March Madness LP2 a 7 out of 10. Same with Anthony Fantano. These guys love Eminem, contrary to what the public believes. Well, the Stan public. I don't love Eminem that much. I don't. Me and my homie, um, hmm, I would say his name, but I'm not, and he knows who he is. He would tell you that he doesn't like that album. And I told him I kind of liked it. I used to think about it like a 6 out of 10. Now I don't even think that positively about it. I can't listen to more than half the project anymore, and that's sad. But these guys, such as fucking Tyler Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, and all them, they fucking adore Eminem at one point. And it's really sad because if M actually took time, I mean, real time to actually do music with these guys, he would have learned something from them too. And I think that's a problem with older people. They don't want to learn things. They just sit in their ways without realizing that even whatever age you are, you still gotta learn. Yes, as you get older, you're supposed to be teaching a lot more, but that's how you just cloud your mind from improving, in my opinion. And combining all these reasons, that's why Eminem's overrated. That's why. All these are the reasons why Eminem has lost his stature in hip hop. I personally, I think he should never came out of retirement. I think he should just left on the current call, remove FAC, and just do that. Yes, he loves music, but I think someone should have told him to go the LL Cool J Ice Cube route because Eminem is a phenomenal actor. From what I saw on The Wash and 8 Mile, yes, M can do it. Ice T's been doing it for years. He still makes music, but it kind of makes you appreciate him more when he does go back to music. Like LL Cool J, early on in his acting career, once he came back to music, his music was so really good, and you appreciate him more. Bro, I listen. He was the first 40-year-old rapper to still be good at hip hop. Actually, that song Headsprung that came out '04, that shit is a fucking bop still to this day. That shit was dope. That's when LL Cool J. When I was a kid, I was seven. I was seven when that song came out. Sorry for stuttering because I'm just been thinking about this for a while, and I'm just really happy that I'm mentioning all the points I wanted to. That song came out when I was seven, and that song still fucking bangs to this day. It slaps. And I think it's because he gave some time away from the art form in order to be inspired to make better music and work with new people. That was his first time working with Timberland. And by then, Timberland was one of the GOAT producers. Late '90s, got him with Aaliyah. You got him with a lot of acts of like himself and I don't like Magoo, but I mean it wasn't bad music. Missy Elliott, and then in the 2000s he was working with damn near everybody, Justin Timberlake, Nelly Furtado. He wasn't making bad music, and LL Cool J did the right thing and made music with him. And I think Eminem doesn't do a good job of recognizing the time because he was stuck in the late 2000s for a while. And even that era, he didn't even master when he was in it. But and I'm not saying music is better nowadays. It's not. It's not to me. It's just more and more redundant since 2012, 2013, when the instrumentation included the trap sound where you hear those drums just go at like five beats per second. I don't really like that being used all the time, but it is what it is. There's still a way to have a vibe in today to make a song that's vibey. I'm gonna use the word vibey for this era. And his music back then to me kind of was. Now it's just all over the place. So this is what I think of why Eminem has become overrated. His discography, of how and why. This is how and why I believe Eminem became overrated. His discography is just severely lacking overall nowadays due to just an abundance of misses coming out of retirement in '09 when he was still looked up in a really high regard. His fan base, they really hurt him a lot. They just put him on a pedestal that he should not be on. And he's a human being anyway, so you shouldn't be putting people on that pedestal. That's idolatry. And he leans into it too with the rap god thing. So the fan base is a representation of you. So even though he he tries to come off very cordial and understanding about what people perceive him as. I can tell that he rather everybody shut the fuck up. And guess what? He's still a great MC. So master of the ceremonies, MC. That's what it is. But I think if someone like him read my review on his album, the way I gauge rappers is different than the average fan. I think he would appreciate it, but he won't give time to the right people in order to hear them out so he can make the best product possible, in my opinion. And just overall music choices, his style, and just his formulaic approach to making music is just outdated and just ruining him. And he doesn't work with people that bring the best out of him, and he doesn't work with new artists or newer people that he can bounce off ideas better off and just help him in this current climate of music. So those are my points, and I will talk to someone that's actually from Michigan to talk about Eminem, so we can actually have a debate. So hope you guys enjoyed that, and peace.